Hello, fellow beings of light. We are a day late, courtesy of my cold, which thankfully is finally getting better. And of course, the sheer volume of everything that has been coming through for me lately. But, as always, I am trusting that there is a reason this activation had to occur today instead of yesterday. A reason why my team ordered me to rest and go to bed early last night, instead of pushing through and getting it done like I usually would. Whether that was for me or for all of us, it doesn't really matter. It is as it is meant to be. Now, this activation, it marks the end of our theme for the second half of winter, Reconnect. And two things arose during episode 12 of our podcast last Tuesday that I believe tie our 3Cs together, that theme together, shifting our perspective from duality to polarity and releasing limitations. When it comes to reconnecting with our core, with the flow of frequencies that emanate both upwards and downwards from it, including the one that is uniquely ours. And when it comes to reconnecting with cyclical living, the flow of life and everything that is, we must raise our awareness to the fact that connecting and releasing are opposing extremes, states of being that make up a single central frequency, flowing through us and flowing through our chakras. They are one and the same, not separate from each other. When we make a connection or reconnection in terms of our remembrance journey, the universe intends that we let something else go. That which isn't in alignment with that connection or reconnection. Essentially, what has been blocking us from making and fully receiving that connection and reconnection. This is something that most, myself included, struggle with, especially when it comes to our journeys. We learn new things, accept new truths, but somehow find ourselves continuing to walk along the same linear line we thought we had left behind, with nothing changing. And we find ourselves scratching our heads, wondering why. The answer is easy. It is because we aren't fully letting go and going with the flow, with the cycle. We aren't releasing that which isn't in alignment, not fully. And therefore, we aren't connecting with what is, not fully. Oh, we do acknowledge what isn't in alignment. I will give us that. But on some level, either consciously or unconsciously, we are still holding on to all or to bits and pieces of that which needs to be released in order to fully receive new connections or reconnections. I'm going to provide an example from my own journey. The moment where I learned this lesson, the difference, for the first time, with the help of my guides. And there's that third C, our chaperones, tying in. Last spring, I entered into a meditation, a journey with my truth guide and my higher self, just intending to deepen my connection with them. But they had their own plan, and instead, they took me to a place that held meaning from my childhood, and they used that place that moment in time to reconnect me with the truth that my abilities, my knowledge of who and what I am, my core 4 guides and beyond them, have all always been with me. I'd forgotten them, pushed them down, repressed them, because I grew up in a home where not only were my differences not accepted, but I was subjected to a narrative that made me believe that no one would accept me if they knew about them, that no one would love me if they knew about them. And as they were forgotten over time, this narrative evolved into no one would accept me or love me because there was something wrong with me. No what, no why, no how behind what that wrongness was. There was just something wrong with me. That abuse, along with that narrative, was something I'd worked through probably 10 years ago now, that I'd moved past and on from, that I'd healed from, that I thought I had released. But I hadn't, not fully. I'd acknowledged the abuse in the narrative. I'd accepted what happened and that it wasn't the truth. I'd taken steps to prevent it from continuing by removing the abuser from my life and moving away from that environment. But that narrative, it was still there, floating around, not only in my very human mind, but in my energy field, where it served as a filter that everything coming in and out of went through. And because of that filter, I was stuck. I was limited. I was blocked from fully receiving the connections I was making, the knowledge I was learning, the remembrance I was receiving, and more. That day, during that meditation and journey, I asked to be shown the truth of what they were telling me. And they took me to my Akashic records and did just that, showing me memory after memory of my who and what, my abilities, my guides being with me throughout my early childhood. And when I saw those memories and merged them with the connections I'd been making about how all of those things make me whole, strong, and powerful, not different, not separated, not unacceptable and unlovable. That filter, that narrative floating in my energy field and mind instantly fell away. And I came out of that meditation and journey as changed. Not a different person, but rather closer to the one I was always meant to be. Closer to the frequency that is uniquely mine. The separation between who I was before that filter and who I am now that it is gone ceased to exist in a single moment. Everyone around me noticed a change in my energy frequency, in my appearance, in my mental health and confidence. And if you need a context for how huge that moment truly was, it was the moment that began to unlock everything that has led to where I am now, to all that I have been receiving now, to all that I am being called to do now. To me, having my purpose, my mission, and beginning to put together the pieces of my unique frequency, my unique codes, my unique blueprint for not just me, but my fellow soul aspects and our light body above us. If I hadn't fully released that narrative and filter of untruth, I never would have been able to fully not only accept, but integrate my truth. All of those things. I would not be where I am right now, sharing all that I am sharing and am about to share with all of you in the near future. I got off my linear line that day, and I have been riding the roller coaster of the spiral, the flow, the cycle ever since. The moral of this share is that when you truly embrace the flow of connecting and releasing at the same time, you will know it. You will feel it. You will know the difference between truly doing so, between truly connecting and releasing, and merely acknowledging new knowledge and things that need to be released. It is life-changing, game-changing, journey-changing, and not only when it comes to you in your current physical body and your current timeline and dimension, but across all others, if you start making those full connections and releases across them. P.S. That is something our upcoming programs are working towards facilitating. Now, I want you to take a moment. Let everything I've said, everything that I've shared, not only today, but in the podcast last Tuesday, sink in. Let it shine a light on areas of your life where you may not be truly connecting and releasing, where you might be experiencing a narrative or some other form of filter that is still holding you back, even though you're pretty darn sure you did the work to heal from it already. Okay, now that you've done so, let's get into this week's activation, which will be aimed at helping you to go with the flow, to connect and release at the same time, to not just accept and acknowledge, but to integrate those connections and releases. If you are open to receiving this activation and the integration and grounding that will follow, simply say yes, either out loud or within your mind. I invite you to sit in a comfortable position with your eyes closed and your palms facing upward on your lap. And as I drop in and connect with your energy field, wherever you are and whenever you might be listening, I want you to begin a pace of breathing slowly and deeply, in through your nose and out through your mouth, letting go of any thoughts or feelings that might be swirling around or through you in the current moment. Now, I want us to take 3 slow and deep breaths together. And with each inhale, I want you to think or say, focusing on reconnecting with truth. And with each exhale, I want you to think or say, focusing on releasing all that is not. Focusing on reconnecting with truth. Focusing on releasing all that is not. Focusing on reconnecting with truth. Focusing on releasing all that is not. Focusing on reconnecting with truth. Focusing on releasing all that is not. Now, I call forth any and all members of my team who wish to join us in this activation for our highest good and healing. We seek to activate, integrate, and ground in the lessons that were shared today and during this week's episode. Aid in shifting our perspective from duality to polarity, and aid in being able to see and feel the release that comes with each connection or reconnection we make along our journey. The member of my team who is coming forward is that is interesting. The guide coming forward both is and isn't a member of my team. On my team, he appears to me as Hades, my water spirit guide, who aids in cleansing and connecting me with my truth. But right now, he is appearing as his counterpart, Osiris. I'm actually not surprised by that. The Egyptians have been coming through strongly for me recently. Okay, I'm going to step back now and allow him to lead us through the activation, integration, and grounding process. Saragurusa Ari Sulamakaskateska Ari Shurama Are Shulakate Aru Salamakatiska Are Sulamakateya Ara Aru Kanamaskate Are Sula Avi Sulamakatiska Sulakaraskateska Ari Aru Ari Murarakati Ari Shulamakatiska Are Aru Sarama Adi Suskarakateska Ari Uskanamakatiska Rakatiska Arosakarabakuska Rakatiska Rakate Aru Salakadi Aru Hari Salah. He is complete. Before we bring this activation to a close, I ask that our guide, Osiris, share a message with us as well. One that will further aid us in integrating the activation codes that he has shared with us today, that will further aid us in our journeys moving forward, in our ability to connect or reconnect and release at the same time. You have this saying that knowledge is power. That is a half-truth. I'm sorry, I'm struggling a bit with understanding with the point he is trying to get across. Can you simplify for us? Are ura, ari skura raska, ari usaraka rakaska tketi, are usarabaka. Receiving knowledge, or anything else for that matter, like your example of connecting with it or anything else, is only half of the equation. Ari sara bushkarakaskateska, ari usarakarakaskate, aru sara bushkarakaskate, are usala, are aka. You must look beyond the words and the experiences that knowledge comes to you through, to see the vibration, the frequency underlying it. Kari shulara bakari sala daroharaka aris uskarada. To see both, as you put it, the upwards and downwards flow of it. Ari surakaraskaria arusaramakaskarkate aru ari sarabushkaraka. It is that frequency which you must connect with, that you must integrate into your being, not the words and experiences themselves. Ariusara, Arius Karabakas Karakatesa, Aresara, Arusarabakaska, Arisu Ararabokos Karakadiska. Until you do, you merely have the potential for power, the potential for expanding, the potential for raising your frequency. Are susara, ariskus karaka, katakas karanis karapus karaka, are sula. This applies to everything, every form of connection and reconnecting to all knowledge, to all abilities, Areshula, to all, Aresara. He is complete. Whew, there is a lot to unpack there, isn't there? A lot of implications, a lot of things to think about. But I kind of like where those thoughts, those shifts in perception are leading. They make sense, even if they don't quite feel like it yet. I hope you feel the same. I am going to be silent now, allowing the music to continue for a few minutes and set an intention that everything that comes through continues to integrate and ground in, that you both continue to receive, to reconnect and release. As it does so, I want you to continue breathing slowly and deeply in through your nose and out through your mouth. When you feel ready, you can go ahead and begin coming back to your surroundings, wiggling your fingers and your toes, and finally opening your eyes. Good. Thank you for joining us for this activation, and I hope for our podcasts on cycles, our chaperones, and our cores over the last 7 weeks of January of 2025 to March 2025. You can catch all of those on our YouTube channel at Blueprint Reclamation Project. If you haven't yet, Aris katakati.